and we're going to be going over how we integrate or how we can use Makko and Godot by making our Rift Runners game here that we've been working on for a couple sessions now. So here is Godot right here. We have our boot screen just up right here. We've been able to come in and create a couple images for the boot screen. Notably, this week is the title that we have here, and let's press any key to continue. But so last week we had a procedurally generated level where your runner would just go around as a square and jump on a bunch of different square looking platforms into a bunch of rooms. They could collect a bunch of different stuff, time crystal, the rift key, and some sub keys, but they also just look like just drawn rectangles on the screen. And then another cool thing was the procedurally generated levels changed every time you selected a bounty. And then last week we also added an animation into the game, just the run animation. And so we had that working, and I believe that's all we got to last week. So this week we want to go through, we want to show off the new animation stuff that we did in Makko, how to export that and then import that into Godot and get a new animation going in here. So let's go through a little bit here on what we have right now. So I'll hit the play button here. And so we've got Rift Runners, got a little press any key to continue thing. So we'll do that, and then we're back to our no graphics, no images or anything like that. But I was able to add a shipping lanes catwalk level. This will be our real first level here that has normal difficulty. It tells you how many sub keys we have in here. So we click on that, and we're taken into the game right here. So we're stuck with our idle animation, is nothing right now. We're just a white square. We can run around. That's what we did last time. Some new stuff for this time is I was able to add in a prop for our platforms and then rework some of the procedurally generated stuff. I added a time key in there that looks like garbage that I just collected. It's a little bit too complex for this. And we can see that the tile set that I created, it needs a single tile right here. And then the little red squares are still our hazards that we haven't done anything with. Another thing that I tweaked was the wall slide here. So it feels a little bit better for the game. And so I was able to go in and change some of the logic. So you'll just slide down without pressing into the wall like last time. So that makes it easier to jump off the wall. And there's a little bit of forgiveness. So if you're a fraction of a second late, it'll still jump off the way that you want it. I don't know if anyone's ever played Ultimate Chicken Horse, but I like that game, and that's kind of what this oh, Jeremy's laughing. We played it a lot together. And I just liked how that wall slide felt and that wall jump felt, and you could get into a lot of shenanigans or get yourself out of trouble pretty easily. So that's kind of the goal for our Rift Runner right here. I'll go through the project a little bit too. So we have our assets folder. So this is where all of our Makko assets are going to be going. We have our main character Brando with I did add an auto animation. So we'll go over that in a couple minutes here. And then we were able to add some sprites into here as well. So this is the prop that you can see on the right over here. And the crazy thing too is we're using the Godot MCP server. And so I was able to hook it up to Claude Code here. And I gave it an image for the platform that you see right here that is 957 by 371 pixels, and which is a really weird size for a game. And with the MCP, it was able to go in, I was able to tell it like, hey, can you make a tile set with this? And it was able to go in and break it up into a different tile set. So if I go over to one of my levels, navigating this a little bit, but it was essentially able to break it up into a nice map. So let's go into, so here we have our collection for Rift Runners, and we do have a single animation. I think Tony was working on this animation, and so he was messing around with everything. It is kind of interesting because they're running with a cube and they don't have their hat, but it's like a Dragon Ball Z Rift Runner. All right. But in a sub collection here, we do have our character. We do have the Rift Runner with the hat. He is holding a cube, but what I was able to do, we have to go into the reference sheet selector. And so here's kind of my process that I worked through to regenerate our Rift Runner using the new animation flow. I had my first character here, that has the cube. And so I just did a straight generation with GPT-Image2 on medium. And he's balancing that cube on his hand, which is pretty weird. And I think it could lead to a lot of weird animations. And so I was able to come up with this prompt here, which is no cube in hand. And then I also noticed that in a lot of our reference images or concept art that we're using, he has this target on the back. So I wanted to put that on the back as well, because in our original reference sheet, it wasn't on the back. So I just described that I wanted the exact same symbol that's on the front of the sweater, just enlarged on the back of the sweater. And it was able to do that pretty well. And so I did like the results here. And so I took this, I went into the animation studio over here, chose the character as the reference, and I essentially just said side, because we're making a side-scrolling game. I did a side perspective. I wanted him to start facing right, because most of the levels start from west to east, so left to right. And then these presets are really cool though. So these are all the basic animations that we'd want in our game, and I wanted an idle animation. So I just did that. I didn't provide it a prompt, I just provided it this reference image right here, which I think that this is a really cool feature too, where you can go back and click on the reference image that you used to generate your animation. And then we came up with some breathing. He's a rift runner, he's breathing a little heavy. I think that's pretty good. And so went in here, so in the upper right hand corner, you have this open, that'll take you into the animation editor, and then went through everything that Jeremy touched on and exported a new sprite sheet here. So with this new sprite sheet though, we can go into Godot, to our player. And so I have this new animation, this idle animation that doesn't have any frames in it. I make sure that you import. So all I did was I opened up my downloads. I had my new idle animation that I spelled correctly, 100% correctly. And I dragged and dropped it into the assets folder. So we're definitely brainstorming on how to make that a lot easier instead of manual like that. But right now, that's what we're set up to do. So I have so in the upper right-hand corner, you can see that I have my sprite sheet. It has a lot of frames, but that's okay for the idle animation. It's just gonna be standing around. And then I'm going to go into the animation frames section of my player. I'm going to import a sprite sheet. I have my 2 here, and it looks like we have everything set up pretty well. So let's select all the frames that we want, 23 frames in here, and let's play it to see what's happening. Pixelated, because I'm doing it at 128 pixels for the sprite sheet, but our camera zoomed out a little bit, so it'll play nicely, but we can go back and we can iterate on this and make it bigger too. We should probably play with. So I think that looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go into my idle state for my player, click on this little script button to take me into the script.
And actually the thing you really want to play with is it's essentially a one loop. So as you get bigger and bigger games, that sort of thing will slow down the performance of your game and make it a lot bigger and the artifacts a lot bigger. And so those that you want to actually filter out your animations from, because there's no difference in the second or third loop than the first loop. So there's no reason. You basically always want your game loops to be as short as possible, right? So.
Oh yeah, because if you get into a good complex indie game or AAA game or whatever you're doing, you're gonna have a ton of sprite sheets. And so the smaller they are, the more you can load, the less fancy you have to get with optimizations. That's a great call out. So let's go back into our script. We already have a base idle Godot script happening right here. So it's using the default animation, which is just that square, the name of our animation that we have connected to our animation sprite 2D on our player object or player node. And that should be as easy as it is. Go in here to our shipping lanes catwalk. And there we go. We have our idle animation. He's sitting there breathing, running around. He has a weird thing when he's falling, he turns into a rainbow. And it also looks like he's standing a little bit too low, and maybe his animation's a little bit too small. But I guess that kind of plays in. I did want to regenerate him as a bigger animation because I think 128 kind of small for this game. So I'm actually gonna rebake this. Size back up. This is what we have at 1080p or 1024 size.
Actually, what you have now is fine for his current size.
That is true. I thought it was a little pixely, but so we don't have to rebake. We can just go into Godot and resize.
So one thing on games is if you want, I'm sure there's guidance out there, but if you want to see the detail and everything, this is why pixel art's so popular. But if you want to actually see detail, think of Street Fighter or any cell shaded game, the characters are much bigger on the camera, right? So you're not gonna actually have super high resolution images for tiny characters. So if you want to see the detail, the solution is to make your in-game character bigger with larger sprites. And you probably need it to be a decent chunk bigger, right? If you're increasing it by 5 pixels, there's no reason to double the size of the assets. But see there, now that is actually pixelated. At that size, you may want to, well, and is there not a literal size?
I don't see one on this screen right here, but I think there is one in Godot. It's here. You
go to the transform drop down on the right. So there you go. So you got scale 1.471. So you're at 1.5 size, what you brought it in at. So that feels like a scale you might want to go up a little bit, but then you're going to scale it down when you bring the big one in. Another thing is you can do custom. So you could do, so 1.5 times, so 128 times 1.5, go back to Makko. So this is technically how you want to do it. So that would be 192. So type size 192. So that actually makes him perfectly the size that you're just talking about. So if you want the most optimized game, is figure out what your size is, bake it at that size, and then bake everybody at that size. And the way the baking works is it'll take it's scaling the largest, and maybe we should just normalize this to height, but it's scaling the largest width or height to that size, which is usually height. So it's not always just what the math we did there, but it should work in this scenario. But you would want to rebake run also, right? Not just...
Yes, that is a good call. So that's interesting because run is in the old animation. So I can regenerate it though, recreate it.
Your run needs to be sped up too. It needs less frames. So I'm just here to provide feedback, apparently. But your run needs less frames and it needs to be faster. That's why it doesn't look great in the game. Especially, also consider this when you guys are doing animations and stuff, is like when he actually gets in the game and he's running around and doing all that, there's usually only time for a handful of frames before you stop running or stop doing something. So that's another reason you don't want really long loops, is because realistically, you're never going to get through the loop. Also, this idle animation, it's fine, but functionally, you probably would be better off just having him be static first breathing, because it's so minor and it's so small that you can't really see.
Right. And I think that is really good, especially just making everything more simplistic too. I agree with that. So maybe, and we can do that too. We can just take the first frame here, but let's see what it looks like with all the frames.
You got it now, so it's whatever. You missed a frame.
Oh man.
Is there really no other way to import a sprite sheet in Godot than this? This is kind of crazy to me. So when we're saying we want to build layers around Godot that make getting our stuff in here easier and vibe coding in Godot easier, this is another thing. This is honestly crazy to me that you gotta... Sprite sheets are... Actually, one of the YouTubers we're working with was saying, oh, I don't know why you would need this Sprite JSON file. All these configurations is a pretty normalized format. So your scale's still 1.5. So now that he's bigger, you got to make your scale smaller.
Yep. Let's make it smaller. There we go. Cool. And the collision box kind of matches up. Just make it like that for now. We can adjust that later.
Well, now your run's outside the collision box, right?
Yep. Or is it... Well, actually, that's kind of good for the run. I like that because you don't need the collision box to be smaller than the animation.
But then if you're running against a wall, if you're running against a wall or a floor or anything, it'll...
Yep. So let's see.
I would actually say your collision box for idle, I would base your actions off or your collision off your action movements, not your standstill movements.
So let's see. We have move him down here. That's fine. Then we'll increase the size.
Also, I think your idle is dramatically larger than your run now.
Oh, that is true, because we need to go back and regenerate.
Well, I wouldn't worry about regenerating the run right now, but you should scale it in the engine. So one thing I'll say, I wouldn't remember. You do you. And that was literally the thing that you were basing the size you wanted off of, was that one. So I don't know.
Oh yeah, so let's scale this up.
So one thing I'll also say, so a lot of games, we've talked about this last week, is finding the fun, and you do not need to hyper analyze graphics as the first thing. It's always fun to do graphics, and it's nice to have a good looking character, but whether your assets are exactly the right resolution or any of that, right? That's not a huge deal.
Why is it's changing them both at the same time, which I don't want, right? We want scale to be 1 for all of them. So idle is at 1. So that changed the scale for this. I don't want to change the scale for that. It's because it's all under one animated sprite 2D. So maybe, well, I'm no Godot expert, but it seems like I would need to have like an animation sprite ID for each of the states, which I don't really want right now. So maybe it is better to go in and adjust the animation size and just re-export, because we do have that, 129 size or 192 size, because that looks kind of strange.
Yeah, it says you need separate animation player nodes.
Right. This feels like a great example of how you're doing a lot of messing with graphics, but how I would do this if I was doing the engine is I would go to Claude in the MCP and say, hey, I would talk through it with it and just have it adjust the scene. So instead, this is the thing AI buys you. I always say this when I'm coding Makko or anything. You never have to hold off on refactors now, because AI can do refactors really well and just switch things around. So instead of just fighting it. Now, the one thing that is really weird is I don't know how you're going to know that they're exactly the same size. So this is the sort of thing that clearly is a shortcoming in Godot as an engine, is that it's got weird constraints here. Probably the easiest way to do this is to export and make sure that the exports are exactly the right size, which this is a good lesson for us, because essentially what we need here is so if Makko could bake all of this as a single sprite sheet and then, or make sprite sheets sizing related to each other or something. I don't know. This still seems like a weird Godot thing, because this is expecting your sprites you're importing to be identical sizes. And this is probably why they do the import the way they do, is they probably expect a single sprite sheet for a character and all of that to be perfect right sized before the import. And so then you would scale it. So if the animation 2D sprite is a single sprite, it's expecting everything on that sprite to be there. So you would scale that together, because it's probably expecting you to bring in the entire sprite sheet. So yeah, I think that is very true. And we don't have a way to combine the sprite sheets right now when we bake them.
I also don't know that that's actually easier to manage. So that actually seems like a shitty, because the engine is already rebaking it in whatever format it needs. So it's a very arbitrary thing.
Well, let's go in and let's just make a new one right here. So we have animation, we have our reference sheet. Let's go and create a run. Side view, right? Should just be good to go. Oh, I can kick off another one too. Let's kick off another one. Let's do jump. You know what? I think that's pretty good. Then we can get into freeform and do a wall jump type of thing, but I think jump will work for that too.